Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Jace, and I just want to say, Beanie Cast is everything to me. I never miss an episode. Like, seriously, I'll be at work, at school, whatever. I've got you guys playing in my earbuds. The way you break things down, the inside jokes, the debates, it just feels like hanging out with friends who actually get it. No one in my real life cares about Beanie like this, so finding this podcast, man, it was a lifesaver. Anyway, just wanted to call in and say, you guys are killing it. Keep it going.
You know, I don't think we really understood how much this meant to people. At least not at first.
Yeah, we were just talking one day and we were just having fun on the podcast as usual. But then someone reached out to us and we suddenly became a part of someone else's life.
It's wild. I mean, you go from just messing around with your friends to realizing, oh, people actually care about this. Like, really care.
And that's what stuck with me. It wasn't about Beanie or even us as a podcast. It was about us bringing a community together.
And no matter what happened, no matter how... Man, I remember reading that message and just staring at it like, no way this was real.
At first, I thought he was joking, but then I realized that he was actually serious about that.
Where
Did it all
go wrong?
Hey, East, got a sec?
Yeah, what's going on?
I've been thinking we should start a podcast.
About Beanie?
Yes, so that like Shucks can talk about their music, their journey, like everything. He loves Beanie.
I'm in. But what do we call it?
How about Beanie Cast? It's just straight to the point.
Yeah, and we gotta bring Shucks in. He loves Beanie, bro, and he'll just be the glue to the podcast.
Exactly. He's been talking about them non-stop. He's the perfect third person for this.
We'll show the people what Beanie's really about.
We're not just fans. Well, Shucks isn't. But we're part of their story.
This might blow up.
Vu and I, we go way back to elementary school. And one night, we were hungry, we wanted to get some food. So we hit up this old Dairy Queen, just around 49th Ave. And we walk in, and this guy, I mean, he was a burger artist. He was flipping them, he was cooking them amazing. And I go up to him and I say, you a burger artist or something? And he says, nah, culinary architect. I mean, Vu and I lost it. So we sat down with him, right? We got to know him. We talked about movies, podcasts, everything, really. And that guy, that was Renzo. And that night that we spent at the Dairy Queen meeting Renzo, looking back now, that's where the Beanie Cast was born.
Well, when we first started the Beanie Cast, it was originally intended for a way for Shucks to spread his passion and love for Beanie. So we came up with the podcast in order to, I guess, try to bring some attention to this new P-pop group and allow Shucks to express himself.
So we just said, Shucks, do you want to start a podcast? And he was so excited, and that's how it began.
Well, I mean, our initial goals for the podcast was basically to just talk about the latest and greatest Beanie news, but besides that, we were basically just running roadless. I mean, we had no plans for this podcast at all. We were just doing whatever Shucks wanted at the moment, and that was it. The dynamic at the start was great. I mean, it was brilliant.
We all liked each other a lot. There wasn't really any arguments.
Shucks was basically the leader of everything, while me and East were just balloons in training. We would spend the whole time listening to Shucks and what he had to say about Beanie.
When you're all chasing the same dream, you just gotta stick together to ensure that the dream does not slip away.
So, I'll get things started. I am Mr. John Higgins Live. I am kind of a noob when it comes to the broad landscape of beanie culture, but I'm looking to expand my knowledge. And I think this is the greatest way to do it, you know?
I'd like to introduce myself as well. This is God Eardrop, professional Hololive enthusiast, I guess, but I would just like to take this time to enjoy learning about Beanie and be a bloom in training.
The first podcast episode, we really didn't have anything in mind. I mean,
You don't really forget the first episode, right? I remember it just like yesterday. We were talking around, discussing Beanie, and like Shucks' knowledge of Beanie is just crazy. The guy just loves him so much.
we had a plan, I guess, but then it just completely flew out the window. It was basically just like any high school class at the first day. It was just boring, unorganized, and really just nothing to be too excited about.
And I think that was really eye-opening for Vu and I. That moment there, I mean, we realized we were making something bigger than ourselves. After that first episode, it didn't really pop off. We knew that we had to make a change somewhere. So we revamped our strategy and we really looked at where the Beanie Cast could succeed. And we cornered a market that I think is kind of untapped.
I feel like the first time the podcast gained traction was when we did the music remixes, specifically Gento and Pantropico. People were into P-pop, but obviously they didn't really have these crosses and collabs with each other too often. So we thought maybe these musical remixes would allow us to combine Beanie with other artists, and then we would be able to create something special. And it did. It clicked with the audience a little. And that was the first time we gained like 1 million subscribers. So yeah, I think that's when the first time it really took off. To say that we still provide the latest and greatest Beanie news is kind of a bit of a stretch at this point. I mean, we're kind of long gone from the days where we just cover news because, to be honest, Beanie isn't that really newsworthy. Yeah, so we kind of started creating our own things, you know, like John Higgins Live does our long form videos, and then I kind of do like our musical remixes, and then Shucks, well, he just does Shucks things on the side, honestly. But
And the last totally mabuhay. It's Beanie L Shucks, a 2.5 month bloom.
Wow.
That is
So
really
inspirational.
inspiring.
well, Shucks was like the main protagonist of the Beanie Cast.
There would be no Beanie Cast without Shucks. His knowledge, he was truly the bread and butter of the podcast.
It's like we were trying to like hype up like a character arc around him, and basically we wanted to take him from like being someone on the podcast to like maybe like a role for Beanie, like background dancer. I think background dancer would work so well. So we were basically just trying to do like a character arc where Shucks would like eventually end up in the Philippines performing alongside Beanie.
Well, I remember this one moment. We were just talking about Lagi, and then Shucks joins the call. We hear this little sizzle in the background. Vu and I are a little cautious, like, what's he doing? And next thing you know, he's talking about Lagi, and then, you hear this loud sizzle, and the phone dropped. He picks up the phone, and he says, dude, I just burned my hand on the grill. And I mean, Vu and I lost it. How could you stay calm during that situation? The dude was at work on the Beanie Cast. That was some dedication. And I mean, moment like that, it's just peak Beanie Cast.
But yeah, Shucks' greatest contribution was being able to teach us this vast wealth of knowledge about Beanie and the P-pop sphere.
Well, the challenge at the start, it was really just Shucks. I mean, it's not because he wasn't brilliant, but it's just because one day he just vanished. And that left Vu and I in the dark. He wasn't just a co-host of the Beanie Cast. He was a close friend. And I think that moment was when Vu and I had to pivot.
Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and comment, "We need Shucks." We don't brought him with us, so hopefully he comes back after the brand Beanieverse tour, because we'd love to see him back.
Yeah, we would definitely love to see you back. So we might get Mr. Shucks next week.
Oh, wait, let's go. Dude, that'd be crazy.
Don't quote me on that.
I won't.
Shucks was drawn for 104 days,
6 hours.
12 minutes, and 5 seconds.
Days would go by without us hearing anything from Shucks, really. And that was really hard.
We handled all of the research, the planning, the audio, the sound checks, everything. I mean, all Shucks had to do was show up, and he wasn't very good at that.
You know, we really thought that Shucks died during that time, man. Like, I remember having a theory that, like, Shucks might have, like, fell off a whole cliff while he was watching, like, a Beanie concert in the Galapagos Islands, you know? The audience was extremely sad when Shucks left. I mean, when the news broke out, we experienced, like, a 51% drop in viewership and a 100% loss in subscribers.
Subreddits, Twitter pages, fan pages. It's almost a cult-like following for Shucks, but when he left, it all disappeared. And the fans left too. Our numbers started to drop. We were really on the verge of collapse at the Beanie Cast Corporation. It was tough. Losing Shucks, it was like there was a hole in the wall. We were a trio, right? Without one of our members, there was just uncanny silence. There's a lot of tension between Vu and I.
We can't stop these. Shucks isn't here, but we just have to keep going.
Why? For what? This isn't a podcast anymore, it's a joke.
It's not a joke. It's bigger than the three of us now.
Bigger than Shucks? Are you serious? Without him, this is nothing.
It's not nothing. We built this together.
After that, things were never really the same. Vu wanted to keep it going, but I wanted to end it. It was hard.
No, he built it, his voice, his energy. Do you think people care about us without him?
Yes, I do.
You're delusional. They're here for him, not for us, fumbling around like idiots.
Then let's prove them wrong.
Why? Why bother? He's gone. This whole thing f***ing died when he left.
Me and East would just constantly fight behind the scenes because we were always just losing money and losing fans.
And that's the thing, right? When you lose someone like Shucks, it's not just a small setback, it's a large one. And, I mean, what do you even do after that point? Vu and I were really starting to lose it.
I'm not scared. I just don't quit when things get hard.
It's not about quitting, it's about knowing when to let go. This isn't Beanie Cast anymore, it's a hollow shell.
So you want to burn it all down just because you're angry?
Yes, I want it gone. I want it to end before we embarrass ourselves more than we already have.
You don't mean that.
I do. I don't want to sit around in this stupid chair pretending like this is fine. It's not fine.
It doesn't have to be fine. It just has to be real.
Oh man, trust me, we tried. We tried everything to keep things going without Shucks, but it just wasn't happening.
You know, at first it was something reasonable, like he had to go to a birthday party or it was something going on at his house. But then it just became like outright excuses, like he was tired. But what really hurt us was the money. We lost millions. I mean, we could have had sponsorship deals all over the place, but no, the audience left us as soon as Shucks left. Because, you know, Shucks was the heart of the Beanie Cast. And without him, nobody would know what information was going on with Beanie and Blooms.
The Beanie videos just wouldn't hit the same without that Shucks response or that Shucks intellect.
We spent a whole bunch of hours researching, developing, creating code. We eventually created Shucks GPT. Shucks GPT was really good, actually. He was able to create Shucks' voice with almost 100% accuracy, I would say. And, I think we should just use Shucks GPT instead of Shucks. It means more money for us in the end, right?
I remember having my mouse hover over the leave call button and asking myself, what if I had been more patient? What if I had actually talked to Shucks about why he wanted to leave? And, that was probably the worst part of it all. Blaming yourself for something you had no control over. Honestly, I think all Shucks wanted was pure chaos. You know that old line, some men just want to watch the world burn? Well, if the world was the Beanie Cast, Shucks would be the one holding the match. As the search for Shucks stretched on, confusion set in. But nothing, not the silence, not the fans, not even the dwindling views, prepared us for what came next. It started with 3 simple images. A fan. 1 celebrity. We called it the Diddy incident.
The Diddy incident was something that formed after one of our podcast episodes when we were posting fake hate comments on Reddit.
And we left this one comment under a post. It's nothing special, just a run-of-the-mill bait comment, trying to elicit some sort of response from a Beanie fan. And I think the comment read something like, can't wait for the Beanie and the Diddy collab. Next thing I know, the next day I check my notifications. And there's the response.
We can always dream, right? Maybe we can make it manifest in real life. Every reality starts with a dream.
The Beanie fan wasn't disagreeing with us. They were agreeing with us. They thought that Beanie should collab with Diddy. Fu and I were taken aback. We had to post this to the Discord and let Shucks know. And that's what we did.
To say the least that Shucks didn't like that would be an understatement, but we kept on pushing it, and we kept on teasing Shucks about maybe Beanie joining a Diddy party or something, and wow, that was where all the problems began.
He couldn't believe his eyes. How could a Beanie fan support such a terrible individual? It wasn't shocking to Vu and I, but to Renzo it was. This might be the end for Shucks. We're already losing him at this point.
And Shucks just didn't show up to the Beanie Cast the next week. Or the next week after that. Or the next week after that one. Or the next week after that one.
This was probably the final nail in the coffin for Shucks. This Diddy incident was a core moment in the collapse of the Beanie Cast.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Watch their Beanie course on YouTube. It will absolutely make you cry, laugh, and any sorts of emotion.
Man, the burnout. I think what really led to it was the Beanie Core. Without a doubt. I mean, day in, day out, we were watching those clips and it really gets you to your head.
It was 100% Beanie Core's fault. 110% Beanie Core.
Ayan no, hindi talaga siya pumapasok. Pasok ka para maka-join ka dito, makapag-usap ka sa mga sweet corn. Yan.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of moments where I wanted to give up.
And honestly, I still get flashbacks of that second live stream to that very day, to this very day. It just haunts me. And I never want anyone to experience that ever again.
Hell, I mean, I think that was the first night when my Gwen sleep paralysis demon made its first appearance. I remember that night vividly. We just finished a new Beanie Cast episode. The weight of everything was suffocating. Cherry on Top was looping through my ears. Man, I couldn't get that song out of my head. It's just ringing. Stopped on repeat, even as I tried to fall asleep. Stood there looking at the ceiling, wondering how much longer I could keep this up. And that's when it happened. This weird, cold feeling crept over me and took control. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Felt like I was stuck in a dream. That's when my Gwen sleep paralysis demon made her first appearance. Sitting at the edge of my bed, grinning at me like she knew I was done for. It wasn't the fear of her that got it to me. There was a realization that I was losing myself in all of this. The podcast, the stress, the pressure. It was all blending together into a twisted nightmare.
We were realistically like the only people producing like Beanie content, producing the latest news. And that really took a toll on my mind. I remember like one day I was like driving home from the grocery store and I was starting to see a Beanie concert in front of me. They were like playing Pan Tropico and that sort of stuff. It turns out I was like hallucinating, so I had to be medicated for like a few weeks. As you can see, it really took a toll on me to get the Beanie Cast just to keep going. I remember this one time where it was after a Beanie Cast stream. I was like really depressed. So, I mean, I went back up to my bedroom. It was dark, and no one would notice if I did a thing in that room. So, I took a rope, and I hung it on the ceiling. I tied it around the fan and made a little noose out of it. And I walked up, and I hung a Dairy Queen recruitment poster on it. And then I went back to bed. It's safe to say that I had a lot of great dreams about Dairy Queen that night.
Vu and I argued all the time, and it's just our journey would only get harder. I mean, sometimes the hardest battles are the ones that no one can see. It's not the outside pressure or something you don't like. It's that you persevere day in and day out.
It just, things weren't clicking anymore, and I just didn't know what to do. I was not motivated to do anything. And I think that's the Beanie effect. You know, Beanie creates something so positive and so full of energy that it just sucks everything away from you like a black hole. And that was me right there. I had nothing left to give to Beanie Cast at that point, and that really bothered me. I remember one time, we were posting fake Reddit Beanie hate comments, and to say that we weren't really liked in that community would be an understatement, because we got 50 downvotes. It was insane. Like, that was just so much. We didn't expect that. And honestly, I don't really understand why people hated us so much, because all we did was post fake Beanie hate comments as a joke. I don't understand. Like, do the balloons not understand what a joke is anymore? So, I mean, that really made me want to give up because if the Blooms don't like us, who does?
The audience, I mean, that's all we had left. Without them, I don't even think there would be any more Beanie Cast.
Of course, fans would naturally gravitate to the podcast. And that's when I realized that is what kept me going in the Beancast.
I remember this one day. I was at Walmart shopping for some cherries. All of a sudden, I get a tap on the shoulder. Now, mind you, I mean, the Beanie Cast at this point, it was a global sensation. And, man, I was near my lowest point. The guy who tapped me on the shoulder asks, "Are you that one guy from the Beanie Cast?" I turned around, half expecting it to be a joke or something like that, but then, he looked at me with this sincere expression. He just told me something important to say. I was caught off guard. Honestly, I mean, I've been running on empty for weeks, barely keeping the podcast together while the pressure weighed me down. But this guy, he just smiled and said, "Man, you guys saved my mental health." I mean, this hit me harder than I thought it would. Here I was, feeling like I was drowning in the weight of the show, and this stranger was telling me that what we were doing mattered. That moment, everything felt worth it. The late nights, the stress, the burnout, it all suddenly felt like it had a purpose. Without the audience, without their support, I genuinely don't think the Beanie Cast would have continued. They pulled me out of that hole, and maybe, just maybe, we were doing something right.
I told myself, what would Beanie do? You know, the P-pop girls. The girls. The ones who would always perform on stage and break my eardrums as well as shoot a documentary. What would they do? And then I remembered. And that kept me motivated to keep the Beanie Cast going because the girls never gave up. They just made some more annoying and half-decent music. So I thought, why not just keep creating better remixes and better content than Beanie? That was what motivated me. We had to be better than Beanie.
I mean, I think the burnout really first started to hit me. It was one night. I was sitting at the computer, dimly lit, post-it notes surrounding the computer, full of random ideas and scratch jokes that we had. And, you know, that was a low point for me. That was a low point for the Beanie Cast as a whole. And the silence was heavy. It was telling me I should stop. But that's not what Beanie would do. They would keep going. That's why I decided to keep going.
Almost there. 1 million. All this hard work's finally gonna pay off.
Yo, it's only been an hour into the screen, man.
Please.
Come on, don't go down. Don't go down.
Don't unsubscribe, guys. Please keep subscribing.
Come on, don't troll us. Don't troll us here. Oh wait, no way, no way. You missed there. 30 subscribers.
Only sharks just. Yes! 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 No way. That's cool.
Honestly, it's something I'd want to tell my kids one day.
I want people to remember the Beanie Cast as the golden standard of podcasts, you know?
You know, we used to run this little podcast, messy, a little chaotic, but it meant the world to people. And I think that's beautiful.
We've created something that was unique, personal, and really affected a lot of people. I think it should be studied all around high-level education of university all around the world. Because, you know, our podcast is really something to be looked upon and studied as a major story of success within the entertainment industry.
How do I want people to remember the Minicast? Well, not by the controversies or the laughs. I mean, there are plenty of those, but I want people to remember the Minicast from the way it made them feel. That sense of belonging that we created. Even from the very beginning. That was always the goal. Despite everything, the stress, the burnout, the arguments, I wouldn't trade it for anything. If I had a chance to do it all over again, I'd press record in a heartbeat.
You know, the Beanie Cast to me today means everything to me. It means more than my friends, my family, my other channels. Heck, it means more than even getting a job, you know, at the local Dairy Queen. But I would give up 1/3 of the world's population just to have the Beanie Cast around. And it's simply because, you know, once it's there, Beanie is just inside me. There's nothing you can do about it.
Do I think that the podcast changed me as a person? Absolutely. I mean, have you seen that photo of the soldier? You know, he's in the Vietnam forest and he's just looking forward, the 1,000-yard stare. That's me whenever someone mentions the word Beanie Corps.
Before the podcast started, you know, I was broke and I didn't really have a job to go by. I also wasn't very popular as a person, and my family was about to abandon me. But after the Beanie Cast, that still hasn't changed at all. But hey, at least we learned about Beanie, right? And that's the moral of the story at the end of the day. My favorite moment from the Beanie Cast will always be our music battles, because, you know, they're the things that let us be creative and let us use our stupidity and imagination to create something great.
Every time I rewatch that episode, I catch myself smiling. It was pure, unfiltered Beanie Cast at its absolute best.
I wouldn't have had these moments had this not been a thing. And I'm really thankful for it.
The Beanie Cast legacy, I think, will stick with me, not as a polished success story, but as a little bit of a messy, weird, but kind of beautiful story that Shucks, Vu, and we all created together. And I think it draws some similarities to how Beanie was stuck in the house in the Born to Win documentary. It was cramped, chaotic, and constantly at odds, but we made it work. Moving forward, I think I'll carry that same spirit to whatever I do. The spontaneity, the inside jokes, the willingness to try something dumb just because it might spark joy. That's what the Beanie Cast taught me.
You know, I think 20 years down the line or something, whenever Beanie stops being Beanie, I guess, when we end the podcast, essentially, people will look at us as just a group of three hopeful guys, you know, trying to make a living off of some trend that was going on in the Philippines, but they made it successful and they turned it into something that was world recognized on their own. I think people will take something away from that. You know, maybe all you need is a dream, and you can achieve anything as long as you think about it.
the legacy that Shucks left behind. He was spectacular, you know, and whenever you'd see him, he would always be able to put a smile on your face. Yeah.
Oh, Shucks. I mean, I have mixed feelings about him. Even from the very beginning, he made it pretty clear on how much he hated the Beanie Cast. And I respect him for being so honest.
Our families, fans, our friends. Everyone loves Shucks, you know. He was doubling. You know?
Even along the way, it was like he built the house. We decorated the walls, we painted the doors, but he made the foundation.
Shucks, if you're ever gonna watch this documentary, there is one thing I do have to say to you. I want to personally thank you for introducing Beanie to us, you know? Beanie was something different, something new, something that was unexpected, but I think it was a welcome change, you know? And now, forever in my heart, Beanie will always have a place. And that's all I can really ask for, you know? You've been that great of a friend. And realistically, that's what friends are for.
So, I mean, without him, there would be no Beanie Cast.
And, man, I'll never forget that guy. Sorry, can you cut the camera off?
Do you know what? No, I don't. Oh, it's your name, so I'm assuming it's you.
Boy, hell nah. Calypso just doesn't understand what the Beanicast is really about. The Beanicast is brain rot, but a special kind of brain rot. Boy, this brain rot that for 7 months created countless memories and experiences. A brain rot that allowed million people to experience the fucking shit we posted. Boy, I'm just glad this shit's over with.
And we're live. Let's go.
Let's go. First ever Beanie Cast. We love to see it.
Alright, but that does mean we're live now.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome to episode 1.75 of the Beanie Cast.
Oh, there we go. Beanie Reaction Party. Episode 2. Let's go.
Welcome to the Beanie Cast.
Let's go.
Alright, well, welcome blooms all around the world and just casual passerbys. Welcome to Beanie Cast,
where we will be cooking up some of the absolute best Beanie remixes that you have ever heard. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be interviewing Beanie.
Welcome, one and all, to the special Beanie Cast Christmas cast.
Welcome. Merry Christmas to all, and to all good night.
I think we have a very important member returning today.
2, 3, mabuhay. It's Oh Shucks. Coming back.
Alright, Fu. I want you to name each one of these members. That's Beanie Girl.
Oh, Beanie Girl. I love Beanie Girl.
We have,
Are you like a Magua?
Magua.
Gotta love Magua. That's like Mickey Mouse or something, right?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse.
The
What's the
category
category?
is the Beanie Cast.
Yes.
Oh, for the love
I
of
think I know
God.
this.
I ain't dancing.
Reset stats for the jet.
I ain't playing.
Only one of you's gonna get it right. And that
Oh.
will be Mr. John Higgins Live. Congratulations.
Let's
You
go!
made it.
I've won! Renzo, how do you think we should rearrange this formula?
I don't know. I'm not in school anymore, dog.
Do you think you're better than the real Shucks?
Of course I am. I'm the biggest and truest fan of Beanie there is. Beanie doesn't belong to Shucks, you idiot. I'm the biggest and truest fan out there, so back off, you cringe simp. Beanie's mine and not for you. Beanie will never choose you. Get that in your head.
Just one person stumbles across a video and gives us that same feeling that it gave us while we were making it. That's all we could ever hope for.
You know, if I could do this podcast all over again, you know, start from the beginning and start from scratch. Before, you know, everything happened on that day in Minecraft. I would just immediately go to Shucks, smack him on the head, and say, please stop.
Did we set out to do what we originally tried to do with the BeanieCast? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we fully knew what we were trying to do. At first, we were just this little chaotic group of friends, messing around, talking about a group no one really knew about. But then we had fans. Real fans. People were quoting us, they're making memes, fan pages, they're even sending us voice messages. And they're telling us how much we helped them through the rough days. And somewhere along the way, it stopped being about Beanie. It stopped being about a podcast. It became a community. A comfort space for people listening to us. There were ups, there were downs. We doubted each other. We doubted Beanie even. But it wasn't just the clips or the streams that brought us together, or even the jokes. Maybe, just maybe, what kept it going was the friends that we made along the way. My mom noticed my eye bags, my droopy demeanor one night. She said, "What should the viewers do to this video?" And I said, "The viewers should hit the subscribe button, the notification button, and the like button, and tune in for some more future BeanieCast uploads."